It's time to sell Bukayo Saka, and there's so many different directions we can go in. This is my Game Week 18 team selection. Welcome to the Gianni YouTube show. Hope you guys are good, and Merry Christmas as well. Boxing Day fixtures though, we got to get planning. And look, we've been hit with a bit of a curveball with times reported like it's a hamstring injury. We saw him on crutches. He could be out for a few weeks. He could be out longer than that. If it's a grade 3 hamstring, it could be months. But what we do know is he's going to miss, surely. I mean, this isn't official from the club, and Arteta ain't going to tell us. But going from what the Times have said, a very good source, seeing him on crutches, I think it's safe to say Saka is going to miss the Ipswich fixture on Boxing Day. That's the one we really wanted him for. And then Brentford and Brighton until there's then a little break in the sort of early January. So a minimum of 3 games for me, which means he's an immediate sell. So who are we replacing Saka with? Well, we'll get to that. If you fancy hitting the like button and subscribing, thank you so much for all your support. 25k by Christmas is on, so thank you all for hitting that subscribe button. Let's go through my bus team and then talk about the Saka replacement. So bus team, because if I get hit by a bus, at least my team's set. That's why it's called that. So look, we're going to go Fabianski in goal, just over sells. And then at the back, Gabriel, Alexander-Arnold, and Rico Lewis is actually going to get a start. I've been benching Mikalenko's 6 and 7 pointers, which has been annoying. Mikalenko is on the bench. So is Lewis Hall, who has been brilliant for me. Lewis Hall could get a clean sheet this weekend again. But yeah, I'm going to go Rico Lewis at home to Everton. And then look, the midfield looks great. We're going to put Saka with a big cross or empty. Or Saka isn't going to be in this team. We'll leave him up for grabs, that spot. We do have Palmer and Enzo, double Chelsea midfield with Mo Salah. Rodgers first sub again. Please don't get 14 points this time. And then João Pedro Solanke isn't there anymore. He was sold to Nico Jackson. So João Pedro, Jackson and Cunha complete the front line. So I guess the big decision for me will come down to, in terms of benching, is do I go João Pedro or do I go Rodgers as first sub? I'm inclined to go with the home fixture. João Pedro, Brentford at home. We know Brentford are bad on the road. I think I'm going to stick with João Pedro. And Cunha, again, we'll wait and hear. If we get a ban, then of course Cunha comes out. We'll talk more about that later, because a route to Isak is really, really important in this team. Isak has 47 points in the last 4 game weeks. It's not been fun totaling that up. No. We don't want to do that. But I've gone back and I've looked, and he's been absolutely smashing it. We know that. So when do I get Isak and how do I get Isak, and is Isak needed? Well, before we look at the Bruno replacements, let's just give a nod to the guy that's the best forward in the game at the minute. To get Isak in this team, though, I need money. And at the moment, the team we see on screen with Saka in has 0.1 in the bank, right? My plan is to upgrade a Cunha to an Isak if there's a ban, or even a João Pedro to an Isak. Isak's fixtures, by the way, they're good now, but they're not, like, phenomenal. Like, you look at Isak and go, yeah, I'd love him in my team at any point. But is he a must-buy this week? I'm not sure he is. He's got Aston Villa, Man United and Spurs up next. Now, they are on paper, they're 3 tough games, right? Do Newcastle win those games? Maybe not. They are good games for goals, though. You fancy them to score versus Villa, and you definitely fancy them to score against Man United and Spurs. But after that, in Game Week 21, it's Wolves, Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham. So if we just take the next, 7 game weeks? You want to be getting Isak fairly soon, don't you? Because everyone's going to want him. He's going to be a must-have by Game Week 21. So maybe we need to jump on him sooner rather than later. So look, my plan is to be fairly flexible on that. Obviously, I wish I had Isak already in my team, but you can't have them all. So look, we need to talk about those Saka replacements. I've narrowed it down to my top 5 that work for my team. Before we do though, guys, OneFootball is an absolute must. I'm speaking to people all the time who are like, yeah, I don't have OneFootball. I'm like, guys, give it a go. It's the best for me. If you're looking for team news, it's got it all. If you're looking for scores, live scores, obviously got it all. But just for football news, it's brilliant. And then when you go onto an individual Premier League game and you go onto the overview, before you see all the stats and the breakdown, it gives you a 2-3 minute video highlights of that Premier League football match. It's brilliant. Like, it's just what you want. It's a perfect resource. Scan the QR code, link in the description. It's free, obviously, and get it on your home screen. You'll use it day and night. Let's go Saka replacements. I've got 5. I'm going to start with 2 Man United players before I show you the following three. So the two United players that I'm genuinely keen on, and these are all players that I could buy, right? Honestly, I need time to think about this. I won't make a decision till Boxing Day. Bruno and Amad are the two I want to compare. And the reason we need to compare Bruno and Amad is because there's a huge price difference between them. Because otherwise everyone would say go get Bruno. And we've got money to get Bruno. Saka's more expensive. Of course he is. But I'm not so sure it's a foregone conclusion that we should be jumping on Bruno Fernandes, because Amad is a legit option and Amad is 3 million cheaper, right? Sure, Bruno comes with penalties, but when we're comparing their recent stats, I've got the Scout app on my phone here. I'm just checking them out, the key stats. In the last 6 game weeks, this is like the Amarim games. Bruno scored 2 goals, Amad 1. Bruno's only got 2 assists, Amad's got 4. Very, very similar numbers, right? In terms of assists and goal threat, it all looks very similar. When we look at the expected data, the XG non-penalty, Amad actually edges it slightly higher. When we look at the assist threat, it's very, very, very similar. When you look at the stats overall, it's similar. When you look at the on-field position and recognise that Amad's been playing in one of the two behind the number 9, and Bruno often plays in the same role, that equally as high as each other. Sometimes Bruno is even deeper in a midfield too, and sometimes Diallo's a wing-back, but when he is, he's sky-high. Average position-wise, Amad edges it slightly. So look, there's very little to split them. If you go Amad, you're going to have a huge amount in the bank. So just wanted to give a nod to that. I'm still not sure what route I take, but I've absolutely no doubt they are the 2 key cogs in that Man United attack. Like, if we go who's going to start every game from the front 5 players, front 4, front 5, Amad and Bruno should be starting every game when fit. They're the 2. You don't know who's going to be the 9. You don't know who's going to be potentially the other number 10s when they come in. But those two, whether they're number 10s or Bruno is deeper or Amad is on the wing back, they're just going to start every football match. So my top 5 Saka replacements, we're going to go Bruno and Amad. We can see their next 3 fixtures: Wolves, Newcastle, Liverpool. I expect this team to score goals. I know they didn't score versus Bournemouth, but they clocked good XG. They were actually quite unlucky against Bournemouth. Huge shot volume, about 2.5 XG. They weren't bad, and Wolves will give them chances. Of course, Newcastle, it is at Old Trafford. There's an advantage, but then going to Anfield is going to be tough. But we like Amad and we like Bruno. Do we think they'll get 3 starts over the next 3 games, which is the Boxing Day fixtures? Then for many, it's Sunday or Monday. United, it's Monday, extra days rest, tick. And then it's the Saturday after that, like the 4th of January, before then a week off. I'm going to say 3 starts. I'm going to say Amad and Bruno both get 3 starts. If I go Bruno, I've got a 0.1 buffer to get to Isak. So if Isak continues to rise, I'd have to get on him very, very quickly. That's fine. If I go Amad, 5.2 million, like, yeah, fine. If I go Jota, and Jota we need to speak about, because Jota is just tempting me, and that's purely a fixtures play for that Leicester game. I think he probably starts Leicester, but I don't know that. And if he starts, he ain't going to get more than 60, 70 minutes. So it's high risk going Diogo Jota, but it is high risk, high reward. And I am tempted. But does he then play the West Ham game? No, he's going to play one of them. And then the Man United game after that. So I probably look at Jota and go, I'm getting 1 or 2 starts of the next 3. It's high risk, and I'm not sure I can do it. That banks a ton of money, of course. Saka to Jota. Speaking of risks, Phil Foden. Guys, if you're enjoying the show, do hit that like button and do subscribe. Thank you all for the love this Christmas. Phil Foden, we have to speak about him, don't we? Many people, I got a producer from the guy I got a text from the guy that produces the FPL show, who I was on it on the 23rd of December, and he said, we're going to talk about a differential, who are you going to go for? And he just assumed I was going to say Phil Foden. He actually put in the text message, Phil Foden, ? I was like, dude, come on, am I that predictable? But yeah, he knows me. I said Diogo Jota, but it could have been either of them. Foden has Everton, Leicester, West Ham. Could I? Yeah, I could. Everton, Leicester, West Ham is a very, very tempting run of 3 games. They have phenomenal fixtures. Honestly, I reckon he gets probably 3 starts. It could be 2 starts. Slight risk for starts with Phil Foden. They did play Saturday, so they've got a long rest now to the Boxing Day fixtures. It's Saturday, Thursday, but then they do play Leicester on the Sunday, and then they've got 6 days till West Ham. I think Foden could do it. He's played 90 in the last couple. Honestly, I'm proper tempted by Phil Foden. Surely it's a case of I'm not saying Man City are going to start winning football matches because they've been bad, but with their opponents, you would expect them to. And with their opponents, you expect Foden to be a bright spark. He was the best Man City player last time out. We saw him get the late goal against Villa. Everton, Leicester, West Ham are going to surely give you chances. And Phil Foden is such an attractive buy. I genuinely think so. It does leave me short of Isak, 0.6 short. And I'm like, oh, where do I find the 0.6? But maybe genuinely is an option. And then my fifth option, I don't see myself going there because if I go there, I probably don't get to Isak. And surely you need Isak at some point. And that's Anthony Gordon. Aston Villa, Man United, Tottenham up next. 3 starts I think he probably gets. The fixtures are fine. We've spoken about that. But if I go Gordon, do I really want to double up on the attack? So let's take those 5 options. And I think the 2 or 3 most likely to go with. So we see my team. Let's take Saka out and drop Phil Foden in, shall we? If I do that, I'm going to be 0.6 short to get to Isak from Cunha, right? So it gives me significant funds in the bank if I go Phil Foden, but it definitely leaves me short of Isak. So how would I find the 0.6 to go Cunha down, Isak up? To be honest, I don't really know. I could sell like a João Pedro to a complete enabler and have a dead spot. I could look at downgrading a Rico Lewis to a dead spot. And then I've still got good defenders with Gabriel Trent and always start a Hall or a Mikalenko. It's an option. But I don't know if I want to limit myself because I know I'm going to want Isak in that team. So Foden's one option. I'm tempted. The other realistic option, or most realistic to me, is to take Foden out now and let's drop Amad in. Now this leaves 5.2 million in the bank. That's a ton of money. I can do what I want moving forward. It could be fun. It doesn't give you a route to Haaland or anything. You need more than that, but you can be completely flexible in the coming weeks. You don't know what's going to happen. If I go Bruno, let's put Bruno in. I've 0.1 in the bank, I've got 0.1 in the bank if I go Cunha to Isak. So I've got a 0.1 buffer. Honestly, I don't see me punting on Jota unless we hear he starts. I don't see me punting on Gordon. I don't think it'll be Bruno. Let's drop Amad in and say I'm most likely to go Amad. I think I'm probably 40% Amad, 40% Foden, 20% Bruno. I think I'm probably 40-40-20. Although that's probably unfair. There's a few percentage of me that's still Jota. I think I'm probably 0 on Gordon. So guys, they are my 5. Let's see where I go. I will do a deadline stream on Boxing Day morning if you want to see my team. Likewise, I post it on Instagram before the deadline. Captaincy needs to be touched on. Does it? Does it though, Gianni? If you're chasing, go Mo Salah. If you're comfortable at the top, go Mo Salah. It's Mo Salah versus Ipswich. If you've got your triple captaincy chip left, many still do, I'd be tempted to use it. I'm not going to tell you to use it and I'm not giving it much thought. I don't have it. I've used it. There's fewer double game weeks this year. Liverpool will get 1, maybe 2, but you might want your other chips, especially with that assistant manager chip, right? The mystery chip limits us perhaps with triple captaincy. Salah versus Leicester at home. Leicester are the weakest team in the league at the moment. Over the last 2 games, 100%. I'd be tempted. Guys, Captain Mo Salah this game week regardless. Thank you all for watching. Hit that like. Please subscribe on your way out and I'll see you for another video very, very soon. How about a wildcard video on Christmas Day? I think we can do that. See you later team. Bye-bye.